Question: is the meat of animals slaughtered at shrines permissible to eat? Answer: in essence, there is no such concept as sacrificing an animal at a shrine in Islam. Neither in the Quran, nor in the Hadith, nor in the understanding of the companions, nor in the ijtihad of the mujtahids is there any ruling that animals are to be sacrificed at shrines. From early times, the tombs of great people have been visited. In the Hanafi school, a person may donate the reward of bodily acts of worship to deceased individuals. In contrast, in the Shafi'i and Maliki schools, even if the reward of financial acts of worship can be donated to others, bodily acts such as fasting and prayer cannot be transferred to others. When we bring together all narrations such as the Prophet's recitation of Surah Yasin over the deceased, the recitation of Al-Fatiha, and supplications made for them, we see that the prayers we recite, the forgiveness we seek, and the mercy we ask for them do reach them. Indeed, when our Prophet personally visited graves, he supplicated, greeted them, and wished goodness for them. In another hadith, he says, "I prayed much that Allah forgive my parents, but Allah did not forgive them," and he expresses his sorrow. In a weaker hadith, of lower reliability, Hafiz Suyuti strongly insists upon it and says, Allah revived the Prophet's parents, they believed temporarily, and they will be saved in the hereafter. The majority of hadith scholars do not really support this view, but Suyuti is not an ordinary person. He claims that more than 100 times he personally met the Prophet in a waking state as a manifestation. If we were to pile up the hadith he memorized, they would reach the height of this wall. The opinions of such individuals guide me. However, when critically analyzing the issue from a scholarly perspective, it is perfectly normal for me to say that the majority of hadith scholars do not accept this, and I asked to be excused when we went to Medina al-Munawwara. While visiting the sacred places, the martyrs of Uhud and Quba, we did not neglect to visit the noble parents of our Prophet. His father passed away during the period of Jahiliyyah. He may have been a Hanif, one of those who believed in Allah, and if so, he would be saved. My conscience cannot tolerate viewing differently a father who conveyed our master to us. We also visited our master himself. However, when this beautiful practice of visiting graves was abused, animals began to be slaughtered at shrines. Then animals were slaughtered there and their meat was either eaten or given to the poor. Perhaps at first this matter began with good intentions. They visited a great person, recited Al-Fatiha, then, to complete their good deeds, slaughtered an animal and gave it to the poor. Or they had made a vow and slaughtered it there. These can also be criticized, but from a religious perspective they are not inherently problematic. However, saying, "I vow to slaughter a sacrifice for such and such person" is dangerous and risky in terms of creed. From the perspective of Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Jariyah, if the matter is evaluated, they say that a person who does this becomes a disbeliever. Let us not go to such a harsh judgment, but it is certainly problematic. Every animal that is slaughtered in the name of Allah. The command, "Do not eat of that over which the name of Allah has not been mentioned," gives the understanding that things slaughtered in the name of a shrine or in the name of a person are not permissible to eat. I ask you to pay attention to one point. When slaughtering an animal, sometimes you think that you are slaughtering it for the sake of Allah. At the same time, you slaughter it for a shrine or for a national leader. For example, when your prime minister comes, you slaughter it for him. Outwardly, while slaughtering, you also verbally say Bismillah. But if you intended it for the prime minister, that meat is never to be eaten, and there is fear that the one who slaughtered it may have fallen into shirk. In this case, uttering Bismillah verbally is not important. What matters is what passes through the heart. Did you slaughter the animal for Ali or for Vili? You must examine your intention. I do not judge anyone's slaughter. Did you slaughter it for the shrine of Ali or Vili, or for the sake of Allah? This is something between you and Allah. Such an act performed in heedlessness is dangerous insofar as it resembles the actions of idolaters toward their idols. Especially after Ibn Taymiyyah, many hadith scholars think this way and issue such rulings. Wahhabism, in particular, does not allow such actions. These behaviors, such as slaughtering animals for shrines, which are contrary to Islam, are an excess. And these excesses have in fact produced a terrible opposite reaction. Today, among Muslims around the world, there is the idea of criticizing the companions and disregarding the schools of law. This began with Ibn Taymiyyah. But know for certain that those who caused the emergence of this movement were actually those who slaughtered animals at shrines, attached stones to them, and tied cloths to them. Although they were not polytheists or idolaters, they performed the actions of polytheists and idolaters. They, in turn, destroyed and ruined the shrines that we hold dear. The Ottoman state had built a monument at the place where the tooth of the Messenger of Allah was martyred. Even if one were to build a monument of gold at the place where a strand of his blessed hair fell, it would still be too little. The Wahhabis acted so harshly that they even destroyed those blessed monuments. They even destroyed libraries and leveled graves to the ground. This was an opposite reaction to an excess. Therefore, a person should live as one who follows the straight path. As long as life is lived in accordance with the measures of religion, there will be no deviation. When one acts in accordance with the path of the companions and the Prophet, there will be no excess or negligence. When one acts with knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah, there will be no excess or negligence. In conclusion, even if slaughtering animals for shrines or for individuals is not doctrinal shirk in action, it resembles the actions of the people of shirk and is dangerous. Adjusting the heart and observing these nuances is a very delicate matter. One should avoid such things. You asked the question, otherwise, I had not really intended to speak about such matters. There is one more thing I should mention in this context. I say, with your permission, that turkeys slaughtered on the occasion of Christmas night are also not permissible to eat. If something slaughtered for our president or prime minister is not permissible to eat, then something slaughtered on the occasion of an unknown person is certainly and absolutely not permissible to eat. If Muslims want to eat meat, they may eat chicken meat, turkey meat, or goose meat, but not on the occasion of Christmas. They slaughter in their homes for their own needs in the name of Allah and feed their children. A believer does not give value to days that the people of shirk and idolaters value. We have days that we respect. The Messenger of Allah was very strict on this matter. He would say, Sunday belongs to them, Saturday belongs to them, and Friday belongs to us. All days of the week belong to Allah, and each day has its own virtue. But one fills synagogues on Sunday, another fills churches on Saturday, or Jews go to synagogues on Saturday and Christians go to churches on Sunday. We also have a day on which we gather, come together, exchange our joys and sorrows, and interact with one another. That is the blessed Friday. Do you want to be cheerful and joyful, to celebrate a festival? We have Ramadan and Eid al-Adha. Do you want to celebrate a new year? There is a new year established by the consensus of the companions, Muharram. It is the month in which the Hijra occurred, and it has been accepted as the Islamic New Year. There is no essential harm in considering the calendar year as the start of the year. But it is a calendar year, a Gregorian calendar year. It has nothing to do with the birth of Jesus. The Messiah was not born in the year shown in the calendar. Its origin is flawed. It is something accepted by Europeans in a certain period. This is history. Let me express a personal sensitivity of mine. You know the sensitivity attributed to Abu Bakr. He had a servant who brought his food every day. Abu Bakr would ask every day where it came from and how it was obtained, investigate it, and only then eat. One day he ate without asking. Later he asked. The servant said, "O Commander of the Faithful, you used to ask every day, today you ate without asking." He replied, "I was very hungry." The servant then said, "Do you know, I used to practice soothsaying, and I had a debt owed to me from that time. When I collected it, I brought you something with it." The companion says, "We saw him put his finger into his throat and force himself so hard to vomit what had entered that it would come out. He used to say, 'A body nourished by the unlawful is purified only by fire.' Something similar happened to me. I went home and was offered some halva, a famous Middle Eastern sweet. I put it in my mouth, but after a moment I sensed that it had not been made at home. I asked where it came from. They said, the neighbors made it on the occasion of New Year. I became so disturbed that it felt as if there was poison in my mouth. I said, 'May it be harmful, you put it in your mouth without asking.' In my view, the matter is like this: there should be such a level of sensitivity. But on our own festivals, on our own days, in our sacred times, we are very cheerful and joyful. When necessary, we organize permissible entertainment, within lawful bounds. We laugh, talk, sit together, and try to spend that day joyfully and in